a lot that how many places actually are going wrong. So I hope that I can take it very seriously and all the qualification is borrowed from all of you. So I have a vision. HDMI cable. Yeah. So I am borrowing the qualification from everyone. I actually asked so many devotees to pray for me too, because I know otherwise it will be a big flop. So I'm grateful for all the devotees online and however who are blessing me. Only by their blessings can I speak from Srimad Radha. So I just want to say two things before starting, which is I was reading today morning. So this is something about eagerness. So from Sripad Prabhu's new book called Mahindra Kirtan Revolution. So one time Prabhu was actually, he was going on book distribution and he had to take up a different service. So His Holiness Vishnujan Maharaj at that time asked him if he can become the full-time pujari for Radhasthami. So Prabhu said, yes, Maharaj, I want to, but is it going to interfere with my book distribution? Prabhu, Vishnujan said, never say that you want to do something if you don't mean it. Because if you say that you want to do something and you're not actually doing it, it means you don't really want to do it. If you really wanted to do it, you'd be doing it. So Prabhu says he really appreciated that and that made a huge difference in his spiritual life. And he said, I thought that was great. Never say you want to do something unless you are really willing to do it. Not, oh yeah, well, I want to go back to Godhead, but what about my various material attachments, my various egoisms, my egocentrism, my inability to recognize the need to get all the help I can get. So I thought this was very inspiring. And at the same time, as practicing devotee, whenever I try to practice Krishna consciousness, so many times I fail. And the only reason why, as a devotee, as a practicing devotee, I fail is because I have previous sinful reactions. So I found that when we're trying our best and still we're unable to, then we can take shelter of the verse Tatyana Kampasha. So in that verse, prayers by Lord Brahma, it is mentioned that while suffering the previous karmic reactions, if with mind, body, and words, if we can offer obeisance to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, then liberation becomes a rightful claim. So keeping these two verses in context, we will start.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, can you keep the mic a little bit closer? Thank you.
So everyone, all the devotees here are actually more qualified to speak than me, but somehow please forgive me that you have to hear from me on such an auspicious day. Beg the blessings of everyone, including His Grace Krishna Prabhu, who accommodates me again and again, even though I'm such a nonsense.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, sorry to interrupt. Prabhuji, is it possible to keep the mic a little closer, Prabhuji?
Or computer.
Hare Krishna, can you hear me now?
Yes, Prabhuji. Right now, here, Prabhuji.
Yeah, now it is okay, Prabhuji.
Okay. Yeah, I think because the mic is very close to me, I tend to speak a little softer, but I'll speak a little louder. Okay.
Sorry, Prabhuji. Thank you so much.
Yes, Prabhuji. Now it's fine, Prabhuji. I just have to speak a little louder. Jaya Radha Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Gopijana Vallabha Girivaradhari Gopijana Vallabha Yashodanandana Prajajanandana Yamunatira Yamunatira Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. परिणाम संकीर्तन की ओम ज्ञानांजनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपकथा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरो श्रीयुतापदकमलं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगणा रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपदा सहगणा ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Deenabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namaste Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Rishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Mukham karoti vācālam pangum langayate girim yat kripatamam vande Shri Gurum Dīnatarinam Paramananda Madhavam Shri Chaitanya Ishwaram. Can everyone hear me clearly online?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Again, begging the blessings of all the devotees. So, before we start discussing on Srimati Radharani, I thought it's very helpful to understand that just as Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Why? Prabhupada says, Aishwaryasya samagrasya Viryasya shashashriyaha Jnanam vairagyo sheva shanam bhagaiti. So, Krishna has 6 opulences: wealth, strength, fame, beauty, knowledge and renunciation. The person who has Shri Radha, Gopi Jadavalam, the person who has all these in full is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And of course, as we will be discussing, Srimati Radharani is an internal potency. And as just as Krishna expands through as as Krishna in Dwarka, Krishna in Mathura, then Vasudev, then going down, expands into Lord Ramchandra, then the Narayan, the Purushavatars, Leela avatars. Like, as Krishna expands, slowly and slowly and slowly, his intimate dealings, his intimate mellows with his pure devotees, they become more and more and more diluted. Like, for example, we see that in Vrindavan there is 5 mellows. Prabhupada says 5 mellows. Swayambhu Krishna has 5 mellows. And as we go down more and more and more, like for example, you see in Dwaraka, yes, Krishna has a relationship with his wives, but that mellow is little less intimate than in Vrindavan. And as you go down more and more, like when you come to Lord Ramchandra mainly he has the mellow of servitorship. I'm speaking about living entities, mainly servitorship, and sometimes you see like Hanuman, sometimes Lord Ramchandra embraces him. But you never see Hanuman embracing Lord Ramchandra. Hanuman is always at his lotus feet. So as come to Narayan is even less intimate. And ultimately, Narayan, or the Supreme Lord, he is expanding into the Gunams of Brahma, Vishnu and Mahesh. So when you come to Lord Shiva, who is in one sense, he is the Purusha in this material world, and Mother Parvati is the Prakriti, you can see how just as Krishna's intimacy reduces and reduces the living entity, and ultimately Lord Shiva, he doesn't give that kind of access to living entity. So, in the same way, Srimati Radharani, who is principal Ladini Shakti of Krishna, she also, as she expands and expands and expands, we come to Mother Durga. So, the point of the matter is that if we want to give up our identification, if we want to give up our association with Mother Durga, who is actually changing us in this material world, then we have to develop a relationship with Srimati Radharani. So unless we develop the higher taste, we cannot give up the lower taste. Because by nature, we are pleasure seeking. Anandamayo vyasa. So unless we seek for the higher pleasure, we cannot give up the lower pleasure. So having said that, we'll start on Radhasattva. So Srimati Radharani is the pleasure potency, Lagini Shakti, and as Guru Prabhu mentioned so nicely, Srimati Radharani, she is the personality that actually awakens the joy in the living entity. And the purpose of the Ladini Shakti is to have that loving exchange. So Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, one time, it's like everybody goes in front of the Supreme Personality of Godhead and asks Krishna for loving reciprocation for different things. So one day, of course, time is modern, we cannot, in the spiritual world, time is not the way it is here, time is eternal presence. So Krishna thought to himself that who will give me pleasure? Who will give me that bliss that I am looking for? Because nobody can enjoy alone, including Krishna, the Supreme Lord. So although he is Atmarama, but for the sake of loving exchange, from his own heart emanated Srimati Radharani. And of course, she returned the present, but just for the sake of understanding. So Srimati Radharani has two functions. Ladini Kare Krishna Ananda Aswadar, Ladini Dwara Kare Bhaktera Kosha. That Ladini Shakti gives Krishna pleasure and nourishes his devotees. So Srimati Radharani gives Krishna highest pleasure and gives her devotees, nourishes their hearts with divine pleasure. Krishna Premera Ganibhuta Avastha. And Radhasattva I have taken from his father's knowledge. So, if Krishna Prema assumes a condensed form, that is Srimati Radharani. So, love for Krishna in the most condensed form takes the form of Radharani. And that's why Radharani's transcendental form, all her ornaments, everything is made of prema. It's not made of matter. It's made of divine love of God. Radha Krishna Pranaya Vritir Halladini Shakti Rasmat Ekatmana Apiduni Pura Deha Vedam Katamto Chaitanyakam Prakatam Aduna Tadvayam Chaikyamaktam Radha Bhava Jyoti Suritam Naumi Krishna Suritam. The loving affairs of Sri Radha and Krishna are transcendental manifestations of the Lord's internal pleasure-giving potency. Although Radha and Krishna are one in the identity, previously they separated themselves. Now these two transcendental identities have again united in the form of Sri Krishna Chaitanya. I bow down to him who has manifested himself with the sentiment and complexion of Srimati Radharani, although he is Krishna himself. So Radha and Krishna are one, and at the same time they are different. So Radha and Krishna are one in this sense that Krishna is the Vishaya Vigraha, is the object of love, and Radharani is Ashraya Vigraha, the abode of love. So Krishna is a divine Purusha and Radharani is a divine Prakriti. So they both have, again, like I mentioned, that Radharani is Krishna himself in female form, and Krishna is Radharani in masculine form. We can say like that. So it said like one soul and two bodies. So as Krishna has a desire or is the object of love, Radharani is the abode of love. Radharani is serving Krishna, is accepting the service. So in this sense, when the Vishaya and Ashraya, Krishna and Radharani, when Krishna's desire to be served and Radharani's desire to serve become one, that is called oneness. That's why they are one. And they are different because Krishna is the object of love and Radharani is the abode of love. But at the same time, when they combine, they become Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So, Lord Chaitanya is the principal personality who actually gave us the understanding of what is the mood of Radharani. Because Lord Chaitanya is Krishna, but Radha Bhava Jyoti Suvalita is mood Srimati Radharani. So he is, whenever devotees will tell Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu that he is the Supreme Lord, even his dear associates like Ramananda Roy, when he was hearing when he was conversing with Lord Chaitanya, at one point when Ramananda Roy mentioned that ultimately the service of Srimati Radharani in Vrindavan is the highest, then Mahaprabhu wanted, although Mahaprabhu is the Supreme Lord, he wanted to hear more. And then Ramananda Roy was going to say that you are the combination of Radha and Krishna. But before Ramananda Roy could say that, Mahaprabhu closed his mouth and closed his ears. And didn't, because Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is Bhakta Bhav Angikar. He is in the mood of a devotee. And he is actually teaching, or he is showing by example, the mood of Srimati Radharani, the Bhav of Shri. So that's why, Yadi Gaurana Hoito, Tabeki Hoito, Kemoni Dhoritam De, Radhara Mahima, Prema Rashishima, Jagate Janataki. So without understanding, without surrendering to the lotus feet of Lord Chaitanya and through his associates, it is impossible to understand Srimati Radharani. So this is a famous verse and speaks about how Srimati Radharani relishes more than Krishna. Shri Radhaya Pranaya Mahima Kidruso Va Nireva Swadho Yena Bhuta Madhurima Kidruso Va Madhya Saukyam Chasya Madhurabhavata Kidrusham Vedi Lovat Tad Bhavadhya Samadani Sachikalpa Sindho Hari. Desiring to understand the glory of Radharani's love, the wonderful qualities in him that she alone relishes through her love, and the happiness she feels when she realizes the sweetness of his love, the Supreme Lord Hari, richly endowed with her emotion, appears from the womb of Srimati Sachi Devi as the moon appeared from the ocean. So these three desires Krishna had. And why Krishna had these three desires? Because it's mentioned that Srimati Radharani's love is ever fresh. There is one pastime where Radharani is telling to her dear associates that who is this personality who looks like whose complexion is like a monsoon cloud, who is so attractive, who is so fresh, who is so youthful, who is this person? And their associates, they're shocked. They say, this is your dear Krishna, your dearmost object of love. So, because of her newer and newer prema, newer and newer love, therefore Srimati Radharani, darshan, appreciation, realization of Krishna is ever new. So, she relishes more than Krishna. As far as Govind Maharaj also gives another reason, that because Radharani is one-pointed towards Krishna, and Krishna is a Supreme Lord, and although like we have the example of the cowherd boy Lila, where Krishna was situated between two cowherd boys, and each cowherd boy thought that Krishna is only with me. So even though that was the case, still Maharaj mentioned that because Krishna is multi-pointed, he has to satisfy the cowherd boys, he has to satisfy all the residents of Vrindavan, Mother Yashoda, Nanda Maharaj, and the damsels of Prabhuji. So, Srimati Radharani, her love is called Vishuddha Nirmala Prem. It's spotless, it's selfless, you can even say it's causeless. Like Srila Prabhupada mentioned so nicely that Radharani does not, or the gopis do not, the Brajvasis they do not love Krishna for a reason. They don't love Krishna because he's God, but just spontaneously they just love Krishna, and they cannot stop loving Krishna. They cannot think of their life without Krishna. So, same way, it's also mentioned that how her love is constantly increasing. And every time she sees Krishna, Krishna's beauty increases. And when Krishna's beauty increases, her love increases. And when her love increases, Krishna feels so pleased, his beauty increases. So there's a transcendental competition where it's never ending. And it's mentioned that Srimati Radharani, she never cooks the same thing for Krishna again. She knows perfectly how to give pleasure to Krishna. And it's also mentioned that Srimati Radharani's attachment to Krishna is so transcendental, is so sublime, that even if she's separated from Krishna for a moment, just for a moment she's separated from Krishna, she feels such pain. Like we have that famous pastime when Madhu Mangal chased the bee away, and he referred to the bee as Madhu. And as soon as Radharani heard the word Madhu, immediately she fainted in the ecstatic love of God, even though she was right in front of the Supreme Lord. So this same kind of emotion, this same kind of divine madness, love of God, was exhibited by Lord Chaitanya in his last years when he was with Kabira. So it is also a wonderful pastime. Rukmini, Queen Rukmini, she actually one time when she was tending to Krishna, and Krishna told Rukmini that Srimati Radharani doesn't take rest without drinking milk. So she thought that she wanted to quickly do that service. So she rushed. She boiled the milk and accepted and gave it to Srimati Radharani and said, Krishna gave it to you. And she wanted to return to Krishna as soon as possible. That hurry, she gave boiling milk to Radharani. And when Radharani drank that boiling milk, when Radharani drank that boiling milk, so much love, so much eagerness, her throat was burnt. And when she came back and she was massaging Krishna's lotus feet, then she saw that blisters were coming out. And Krishna explained that because Radharani is my life and soul, she only exists for my pleasure. Therefore, anything that she does, any emotion that she does, immediately comes in my heart. So this is her selfless love. She does not know anything from Krishna. That's why she's called Krishna Mahi. She sees Krishna everywhere, and she reminds everyone of Krishna. She's a Tamasvi, she's reminded of Krishna. She sees a lotus flower, she's reminded of Krishna. Anything she is even explained by Prabhuji Shivarama that when her dear associates decorate her in the morning, with every ornament, they have to tell a pastime of Krishna. They have to say, oh, yesterday Krishna was playing with the cows, and the cows have this particular color, so we're offering you this necklace. So like that, every single ornament that they will offer to Srimati Radharani food has to be preceded by telling pastime of Krishna. And at the same time, she has no pride. She has no pride. She is very, very humble. Very, very humble. And that's why it is mentioned that she is unassuming. And that's why the quality of her service it increases at every moment, It's mentioned that Srimati Radharani, she is so much concerned about Krishna's happiness. Like we generally may only see Radharani's relationship with Krishna as she is her divine consort, but amount of service he does for Krishna is infinite. It's just like Rupa Goswami mentioned, Tunde Tandavani Vidante, Tundavani Labhe, Karna Krona Kanamani Gadete, Karnavade Vyaspraham. So when one chants the holy name of Krishna, when one attains that pure stage, then he desires 1,000 tongues to chant and 1,000 ears to hear. So in the same way, Srimati Radharani has unlimited desire to serve Krishna. Unlimited. Whenever Krishna is in the forest, she thinks that, Krishna's feet will be pricked by the pebbles, so she immediately sends her associates to sprinkle rose petals. Srimati Radharani sends her associates to do Chamar Seva, to do Vijan Seva, and like this, unlimited services, unlimited, and even though Srimati Radharani has so many associates, like Brahma Vaivata Puran mentions that there are 2 billion gopis, and that's just a small number, it's infinite. Spiritual world is infinite. So she has so many associates under her, including parents, her dear, and whole Vrindavan is hers, Radhe Vrindavaneshwari, but still she personally serves Krishna day and night. She cooks for him. She's constantly worried, constantly in chinta, constantly in anxiety for his happiness. And the slightest displeasure in him gives her greatness. And that's why we have that famous example that how Krishna wanted to highlight, wanted to establish the position of Srimati Radharani in that pastime when Krishna had a transcendental headache and he asked for foot dust. And Narad went everywhere, and finally Narad went to Vrindavan, to the gopis of Vrindavan, and he asked for foot dust. And the gopis of Vrindavan immediately gave the foot dust. And Narad said, "Don't you know this is Supreme Personality of Godhead? His foot dust is supposed to go on your head, not your foot dust is supposed to go on his head." They said, yes, that's all true. But by knowing that he is going through pain, we are already in hell. So we are more anxious for his happiness. If he is in happiness, we have no anxiety. We have no problem. We have no problem with any anxiety. So this establishes a transcendental position. Radha Prema is topmost. Radhikara Prema Guru Ami Shishyanata Sada Manana Nritya. The love of Radhika is my teacher and I am her dancing people. Her prema makes me dance various novel dances. So Krishna is always enchanted by the love of Srimati Radharani. We have to remember that when Rukmini, she was about to be kidnapped by Krishna, translated of course, Rukmini was in the eternal comfort of the Lord. But yes, in the past time it's mentioned how Krishna kidnapped the women. Just before she was kidnapped, all the great princes who assembled to marry her, just by seeing her beauty, they fell from their chariots and they fainted practically. And after Krishna rescues Rukmini, etc., Krishna tells that I am not attracted by the beauty of Rukmini. So Krishna is not attracted by anything material. Krishna is only attracted by prema. So Srimati Radharani's love makes Krishna completely under her control. Like it's mentioned that when Srimati Radharani just looks at Krishna, Krishna becomes so enchanted, Krishna becomes so touched by her love that the peacock feather falls from his head and the flute falls from his hand. He's so enchanted, he has so much affection because her love is causeless and she has no expectation from Krishna. Ashishava padatam vinashtuvam adarshanam marmahatam karotuva vidhatala vidhatulam pato matprananasantu saeva napara. So she has no desire, she has no expectation. That's why Krishna tells to Radharani and all the gopis that na pareham, I cannot repay you. And Srila Prabhupada says that just be satisfied by your loving service. I cannot give you anything in return. So this is her position. This is Prabhupada's words. Regarding Murli Manohar Murti, I understand that the Patels are ready to present Silver Murti, but we cannot worship Murli Manohar alone without being accompanied by his most favorite consort, Radha. You know that we worship Radha and Krishna. We should always understand that Krishna is sold to the loving service of Radha. Therefore, Krishna cannot be alone. And the Gaudiya Vaishnavas, they want to see Krishna as Radha's property. So that's why we chant the holy name, that we chant the name of Krishna and Radharani together. So our desire is to facilitate the happiness of Krishna by chanting by singing the glory of his name and her name together. Like, so one time, Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur had a disciple in Radhakund, and he was just chanting the name of Radharani only. He was not chanting the holy name of Krishna. And he told, Sri Thakur said, well, from our understanding, when we chant the name of Krishna, then Radharani comes running to us. And when we chant the name of Radharani, Hare, then Krishna comes running to us. And Krishna is also another wonderful pastime. When Purnamasi, she asked Narad Muni, have you seen the beauty of Radha and Krishna? He said, yes. I went to Namagram, I saw Krishna. And then I went to Barsana and I saw Srimati Radharani. Very, very attractive. Then Purnamasi said, no, you have not seen their beauty. Then, after having multiple talks, finally, Narad mentioned that Purnamasi, why are you confusing? Tell me. Purnamasi said, if you want to see the real beauty of Radha and Krishna, you have to see them together. When Radha and Krishna are together, Krishna's love is added to the beauty of transcendental beauty of Srimati Radharani. And Radharani's love is added to Krishna's beauty. Then you can see the real beauty. Then you can see the real divinity. So, this is the understanding that we always want to see them together. We don't want to see them separately. And although separation is the highest value, but we don't have a desire to see them separated. But it happens naturally by Yogamaya's arrangement, and Purnamasi's arrangement happens. But we always want to see them together. And that was Mahaprabhu's mood. Right? That Mahaprabhu always was always crying for this desire. Only one desire is to unite Radharani and Krishna. And the gopis, all the gopis are expansions of Srimati Radharani. Akara Svabhave Vete Braja Devi Garna Kaya Vyuha Rupatarana Tera Karana. The Braja Devis have diverse bodily features. They are an expansion and are the instruments for expanding rasa. So, just as I explained that Radharani has infinite desire to serve Krishna, therefore she expanded in so many. It's explained that Radharani expanded into all the gopis in the Madhurya Rasa, and she expanded even in Sakhya Rasa, in Vatsalya Rasa. Radharani in maternal affection for Krishna is Mother Yashoda. Radharani in paternal affection for Krishna is Nanda Maharaj. And Chitrak and Patrak are there. Radharani is the servant of Krishna, Chitrak and Patrak. And in this way, the whole Braja Mandal is actually an expansion of Radharani's heart. So, this is the point, that this is Radha and Krishna are not different, and the gopis are an expansion of Radharani. So when Krishna is dealing with the gopis, then is actually Krishna is dealing like with his own mirror image. There is nothing outside, there is nothing material. It's all transcendental. It's like, there is this, like in Kolin's Radhamani once mentioned, it's like a small child. Sometimes a small child becomes fascinated, he's never seen, he doesn't understand what is your reflection. So he goes to the water, he throws a stone, and he sees his own reflection, throwing a stone. He touches his own reflection, he sees his reflection also touching. So like this, he draws happiness. Same way, Krishna's relationship with the residents of, with the gopis, the residents of, especially residents of Vrindavan, is just like him playing with his own mirror image. There is nothing external, it's all internal, Antaranga Shakti. So now we will see what is the position of our Acharya. So just as we saw in this slide, that how the Gaudiya Vaishnavas, they want to see Krishna as Radharani's property. So Krishna is a property of Radharani. For us, Srila Prabhupada wrote that Krishna is controlled by Radharani. Without Radharani's permission, nobody can access Krishna. And who is Radharani? The property of Radharani is the property of her maid servant. Her maid servant, her dear associates, they arrange a meeting with Krishna. And the head of all this makes servants. And why do they consume Radharani? Because again, they have no desire to enjoy. They only have the desire to serve. My spiritual master mentioned one time that, like a servant, the real good of a servant is that he does not worry about what his master is doing in the body. He simply interested in service. So, in the same way, that divine associates, the servants and organizations and organizations, they simply want to serve. That's it. And they are not interested in having any certain relationship with Krishna. But by the grace of Radharani, their heart becomes nourished of devotion. And the head of all these associates of Radharani is Guru Manjari. And Guru Manjari is Guru Goswami. And we all know how Srila Prabhupada, when he came to the West, the people were told that I will personally cover it. And so we can understand how Prabhupada has captured Guru Goswami. And so we can see that our acharyas, they have given us the highest perspective. The only thing we have to do is to surrender to them. We have to follow the instructions. Krishna says, Krishna people. हम तो काम है Krishna Krishna बोली दारू पर one thing we should remember that just as Prabhupada says Krishna is never alone. So when we speak about Krishna, we speak about Krishna with Radha. So we will never get, whether we are in Satyaran, whether we are in Vatsalya, we will never get Krishna alone. We will always, understanding is always to facilitate the association of Krishna with Dev. Facilitate the association of Krishna with Yashoda. Facilitate the association of Krishna with Nandamara, with Chitra, with Santra. In this way, so that is the understanding. That is the understanding. So now, since our Acharya is such a divine position, and they are directly the associates of Srimati Radharani, they have the power, the direct power, they have the freedom. Just like if you possess something, if you possess a jacket of possess a phone, you can give it to anyone you want, because it's your property. So they possess Radharani directly, and so they can give Radharani to us. So, if you understand the position, you have to take the role very, very serious. Very, very serious. This is Srila Bhakti after the word of Radharani. It's very high, it's very serious. And the important thing we should meditate on this case is the mood of sacrifice. The mood of sacrifice is the most important. Otherwise, festival comes, festival goes, and the real thing is how much we can sacrifice more. How much we can sacrifice our own pleasure more and more for their pleasure. Kishore Maharaj mentioned something on realization that never look for your own pleasure. Because very high level, we cannot do it, never look for your own pleasure. Only look for the pleasure of Guru. So, this is this reading. To be able to observe the lofty position of Srimati Radharani and her conscientious associates is not within the realm of the common people, especially as only those engaged constantly in intimate, confidential and eternal loving service to her understand this statement. It is only possible to understand the position through her confidential associates. And who are they? You who engage constantly in intimate, confidential and eternal loving service. One time, Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, he was speaking to some scientists on the topic of Krishna conscious preaching. And generally, Bhaktivinoda Thakur was very conservative, careful. But somehow, he went to speak and he said, actually, we are the followers of Radharani. And then he said, we are the followers of Radharani. And then he said, we are the followers of Radharani. When he started speaking, he said, he heard force from his hand, force from his he folded his hands, and he said, I'm sorry, I cannot speak anymore. And he went into his room, closed the door, and for 3 days, and his disciples, they were here, was crying for 3 days. It's such a deep attachment. It's not something that can be said or can be imitated with, because they are in that position. And they couldn't say, necessary. So that's why the Shatavi Thakur has created 2 words on Radha Krishna. So how Guru is a integral associate of Radhakrishna. Sri Radhasthami and
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
yes, sir. That is.
Sorry, Prabhu, it's still very disturbing, Prabhu. Can't hear anything for the last 5 minutes.
Can you hear now?
Yes, now this is better, Prabhu.
Okay. So we'll go to the paragraph. So I was just explaining that how Radharani, how Bhaktavri Thakur is an intimate associate of Srimati Radharani, and the past time when he actually went into ecstasy and he was crying constantly for 3 days without coming out of his room and without eating, without sleeping, without anything, and he was completely absorbed in that show. How he was on the platform, Nikunji, and I also was mentioning how Vishnadasi Thakur actually gave 2 stanzas in Guru Vastak, describing how Guru is an intimate associate of Radha and Krishna, Sri Radhika Ma and Nikunja. The day when, so this is Vishnadasi Thakur telling us what we can do, how we can progress. The day when our link with this material world is limited to the barest necessities, and furthermore, when our trivial opinions, concocted austerities, pious works, so-called knowledge, and mystic power are considered worthless like straw. So day when our link with this material world is limited to the barest necessities. So simple living. Bhaktivinoda Thakur said, simplicity is Vaishnavism. It's better, his words, he said, better to take birth as an animal as a monkey rather than becoming crooked in this human form of life. When our trivial opinions, concocted austerities, pious words, so-called knowledge. So which means that dharmam to sakshat bhagavat pradikta. Whatever Krishna says, that is dharma. That is the proper understanding. So throwing out all our opinions and concoctions and worshipping this devata, that devata, for this, for that, just completely focusing on just surrendering to Krishna. What Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, that is the ultimate. When our worship of Narayan in his mode of majesty is not relishable in the least. So this means that it's not that, like Prabhupada said, our worship of Radha and Krishna is Lakshmi Narayan. So Prabhupada has emphasized that because as conditioned soul, we have the tendency from our tendency to treat Krishna like myself. Krishna is black and it be dark, so we'll say. So this kind of mentality is there. So that's why Prabhupada said we have to worship in Lakshmi Narayan. Why? Because in Lakshmi Narayan worship we have to follow so many rules and regulations. So what it means to rise above that means that the day when those rules and regulations don't become a burden. Like it's mentioned that Raghunath Goswami's austerities were like lines on a stone. So with the day when we follow those rules and regulations out of spontaneous desire and follow more rules and regulations than what is required. That's the point. So the basic rules and regulations are there, but we follow more simply based on Krishna's desire. Like for example, Srimati Radharani will not wait for Krishna to become hungry. She will understand if Krishna will become hungry, she will make 100 things for him before that. She will not wait for Krishna to step on the stones and then say, oh, it's very difficult. No. She will tell her associates to go and sprinkle the rose petals and powder the stone before Krishna comes. So this is called transcending. Transcending means responding to every desire of the beloved. Every desire of the beloved. At that time when we are not inclined to be at all outspoken in the confidential topics of divine pastimes like the Rasa dance, only then we will be fit candidates to receive such confidential information. Of course, on days like this, we may discuss to glorify her position, but generally we should be very, very careful, very careful. It is mentioned that by Bhaktivinoda Thakur, apana bhajana katha na kahibo yatha katha. Iha hoivo savadha. That our own bhajan, our own, whatever we have gotten, we should keep it confidential. When we keep it confidential, then it is, Acharya has explained, like if you heat water and you put the lid on a pot and you don't take off the lid, one day the pressure will become so intense that it will become like a bomb. So that's our Acharya's teaching. Rupa Goswami, he was feeling such intense separation from Krishna, from the divine couple, but he was holding it. You know, his bleeding in his mouth, was holding it. Like Prabhupada says, the Goswamis never say, we have seen Krishna. They always have moved his hair on him. When will I see? When will I see? Sabe have. They all are Acharya songs. When, oh when. So we should be very careful. One time, one disciple of Bhaktivinoda Thakur told Bhaktivinoda Thakur that this disciple, he saw Krishna. And Bhaktivinoda Thakur said, oh, he saw Krishna? That means he will not see Maya anymore. If he is still saying, see Maya, then we should not be very, very careful. Very, very careful. Because advertising is cheap. And because this path is a razor sharp path. We have to be very, very careful. We have to follow the mode of our Acharya. It's simple. It's like, you know, this is saying that fools rush in where angels fear to tread. So where great souls Bhaktivinoda Thakur again mentioned that if we exhibit our so-called, just advertise our devotion to the divine couple in public and make it very, very cheap, then what will happen is the real devotees, those who are actually always on that platform, they will feel so sad. Look at this devotee, he is advertising, and what will happen as a result of that? They will neglect us by praise. Oh, you are such a great devotee. You have such high devotion. So they will neglect us. So we should be very careful on all these things. And many things have been spoken about this. Like the first verse of Nectar of Instruction. How basically if we want to enter this region, then we have to take a vow that I am not going to engage in any activity except bhakti. I'm not going to engage in seek my pleasure in anything except bhakti. That should be not only our aspiration, we should be striving to find it. Otherwise, this is just a joke. I mean, attaining is just a joke. So, like Vachavedam, Manasakrodam, all these things, I don't need to go into details for myself, of course. That we have to become very, very strict with ourselves. Otherwise, it's impossible. And we have to be willing to do anything it takes to attain it. And we should have any restriction, any bar, then it's not possible. You see, like our present Prabhupada disciples, how we hear of their previous pastimes, how they work so hard for his Radhasthami. He was offering 6 hours, 6 offerings. He didn't sleep for years. Such intense service, in such an intense environment, and still today is no different. He didn't reduce the intensity. He didn't reduce anything. So they are the real persons who have obtained this, who have obtained love of God. So if we don't follow their example, what is the hope? What is the hope? So we have to aspire. We have to aspire for that. We have to take steps in that direction. The service to their Lordship Shri Radha Govinda is not expressible in common language. The use of the words Swakya, Parakya usually become intermingled with our own intense residual desires for self-gratification. It is for this reason, due to lack of qualified people, that the divine pastimes of Sri Radha and Krishna cannot be discussed, heard, and understood by the common people of this world. And in saying this, and in saying there is very few qualified people, is not an exaggeration. So what this means is that we have to be very, very careful. If we hear from an exalted devotee with a humble mood, that's all right. But we should always understand that the real service mode is only possible when one is fully purified. And only when one is fully purified is it possible to actually have the mood of service. And the mood of service is a real vision, is a real darshan. Again, this Divine Bhaktivinoda Thakur said that we don't come to see the deity. We come to be seen by the deity. We don't come to see Guru. We come to be seen by Guru. So that is the understanding. So we have to maintain a very humble mood and Of course, that verse is there, willing to become humbler than a blade of grass, more tolerant than a tree, eager to offer all respect to others and demand none in return. So, how much can we sacrifice? Raghunath Das Goswami, who could list the unlimited transcendental attributes of Raghunath Das. His strict regulative principles were exactly like lines on a stone. Raghunath Das spent more than 22 hours out of every 24 chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra and remembering the lotus feet of the Lord. He ate and slept for less than an hour and a half, and on some days that was also impossible. Topics concerning his renunciation are wonderful. Throughout his life, he never allowed his tongue self-gratification. This is a standard that we have to aim for. And sometimes when I have to fast or something, I just kind of console myself that Raghunath Goswami was fasting, but he ate sweet rice in the spiritual world. So maybe if I stop my tongue of self-gratification here, then Krishna will get there. So it's again material, not the ideal thing. But I mean, I'm speaking about these devotees of a day were living on that platform. What is their devotion? And Rupa and Sanatan, you see, it's an amazing picture. Nicha jati nicha sangi patita adhava bhuvishya kute badi gunairo janama. Sanatan Goswami said, I was born in a low family and my associates are all low class men. I myself am fallen and am the lowest of men. Indeed, I have passed my whole life fallen in the well of sinful materialism. So this is how humble he is, how humble. Mahaprabhu called him for lunch. Mahaprabhu said, I was waiting for you, Sanatan, for so long. Where were you? Sanatan said, my Lord, I am so unqualified. I couldn't walk on the main road because the Jagannath Puri pujaris will see me, they become contaminated. So I had to walk on the beach. While walking on the beach, I'm sorry, it was very hot. It took some time. Mahaprabhu said, yes, I can see your feet are full of blisters. Sanatan, you are Param Pavitra Swarup, you are the very essence of purity. But just to teach the people in general as an Acharya, you are setting this standard, Sanatan Goswami. Guda mora hridaya tuni jani rakhe mane etaka hi rupe kaila drida alingane. Mahaprabhu is reciting this verse after Rupa Goswami compiled a very confidential sloka, Sri Chaitanya Manobhishtava, how Mahaprabhu in his heart, the moods of devotion of Sri Radha and Krishna were being enacted. He expressed that in a shloka, and then Mahaprabhu is saying, my heart is very confidential. How did you know my mind in this way? After saying this, he firmly envisioned Rupa Goswami. So here, the point I'm making is, if you want this thing, then you have to know the heart of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. You have to not only know, you have to capture his heart. You have to win his heart. Only by his mercy, this will be expressed. Gopal Bhatta Goswami. When Krishna Kaviraj Goswami took permission from all the Vaishnavas before writing Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, Gopal Bhatta Goswami also gave him his blessings, but he requested him not to mention his name in the book. So this is how we can learn this. Acharyas are kicking out name and fame. They don't want any slight name and fame. Of course, it is not saying that Rupa Goswami, Sanatana Goswami, they wanted name and fame. Of course not. But every Acharya is seeking an example. And another, Gopal Bhatta Goswami, I can remember Gopal Bhatta Goswami, Raghunath Bhatta Goswami, never heard Vaishnava Ninda. He never heard. If he saw any person doing offense or any materialistic activity, he simply said that, oh, this person is serving Krishna's external potency. That's all. So the point here is not that when we have responsibility, we should not point out, but the tendency to find fault. Narottam Das Thakur also says in Prema Chandrika, do not become angry. You have the tendency to find fault with others. Perform your devotional service carefully. So this is the point that we have to be very careful in this tendency to find fault with others. And the main reason for this tendency to find fault with others, speaking to myself, is that I myself, I have a lot of free time in my Krishna consciousness, a little bit here and there. I have a lot of free time. If we are constantly engaged with alertness and seriousness, we won't have a time actually. Even if it manifests in the mind, we have to kick it out because otherwise it interferes with our service. So the only solution is to be constantly engaged, to increase our engagement both physically, mentally, intellectually in the service of the Lord. And then we will not, even if we hear Vaishnava Ninda, we will just think, oh, this person, either he's disturbed or maybe something is not right, he's speaking like this. Just like we all have the experience when we are fully engaged in Krishna's service, someone comes and gives us left and right or says something. So we just think in our mind that, okay, this person, of course, I'm not speaking about authorities, Shishya Gurus, but we think, oh, this person maybe just disturbed, maybe his boss didn't treat him well, maybe some serious problem in his life. So I should sympathize with him rather than raise my ego. So this is the quality. And this is how Srila Prabhupada, I just wanted to show this brief clip about how he actually worshipped Radharani. As we all know, Srila Prabhupada's father, every sadhu who's come to their homes, always say that please bless my son, that he become a great devotee of Radharani. So we see that how Srila Prabhupada is a perfect representative of Srimati Radharani, and that's why Prabhupada could spread Krishna consciousness in such an amazing way. It is mentioned that when Prabhupada wrote this poem, and Prabhupada, it is one of the great devotees commented that Srila Prabhupada, when he prayed to Krishna to help him, Krishna had to fulfill his desire. Why? Because Prabhupada is so dear to Radharani. So we'll just watch this brief video about what is Prabhupada's intensity, what is Prabhupada's mood in worshipping Krishna. So we can see like how Prabhupada is so intense, so serious in his worship of Krishna, even though he's a pure devotee, he never takes anything for granted. Always you can see Prabhupada in any conversation, any room, anywhere, always with tears in his eyes. So we can learn from this great personalities what it means to actually engage in the service of Srimati Radharani. So it's late, so I will skip certain things that I prepared, and I will just go directly into this pastime of how Srimati Radharani's position is actually highlighted in Bhagavatam. So Srila Vishwanath Thakur explains that the word Aradhita refers to Srimati Radharani. He comments that Sri Sukadeva Goswami has tried with all endeavor to keep her name hidden, but now it automatically shines forth from the bone of his mouth. Thus he has spoken her name is indeed her mercy, and thus the word Aradhita is like the rumbling of a kettle drum sounded to announce her great good fortune. So it's mentioned that in Sukadeva Goswami, the pet parent of Radharani, of course, Prabhupada says that how Sukadeva Goswami never uttered the name of Radharani. The reason why he never uttered the name of Radharani is because Sukadeva Goswami was so dear to Radharani. Our Acharyas explained that if he would utter the name of Radharani, he would go into ecstasy for a long time. And then there would be no way to see Bhagavatam because Parishit Maharaj only had 7 days. So Sukadeva Goswami therefore never uttered the name of Radharani directly, but now it has sprouted forth. Although the gopis spoke as if jealous of Srimati Radharani, they were actually ecstatic to see that she had captured Sri Krishna. Srila Vishwanath Thakur quotes the following detailed description of Srimati Radharani's footprint as given in Sri Rupa Goswami in Sri Ujjwal Tilakam. So I will not go through this, but I will quickly, in 1-2 minutes, I will just explain the meaning of the symbols. Because when you meditate the symbols, the lotus feet of Radharani will become purified. And just as Prabhupada says, we approach Krishna from his lotus feet, so we can also approach Radharani from her lotus feet. So the conch here represents, the water that we offer to Krishna in the Aarti ceremony, and it speaks about how it stands for how her glance is very cooling. This mountain represents Govardhan Hill, and although how Govardhan Hill is the best servant of Krishna, Till that Govardhan hill serves Srimati Radharani. This altar, I mean I forget what this, this altar represents the altar of sacrifice. Anyone who engages in the sacrifice of serving Radharani, their sins become burnt up in this altar of sacrifice. And this is a hearing. This is a hearing. This hearing symbolizes that how Krishna is always waiting to hear the jingling sound of Radharani's hearings, because he's always eager for her transcendental association. And this is a chariot, but how if one boards this chariot of serving Radha and Krishna, then his life will ultimately end. This life of many lives will end in the spiritual world. This club represents that how we're meditating on Radharani's lotus feet, that how the deep anartha of lust will be smashed by the power of her mercy. This trident refers to threefold miseries, Adhyatmika, Adidevika, and Adibhautika, that how one will be free from these miseries when we meditate. And this fish refers to how Radharani is a fish out of water. Whenever she doesn't see Krishna, doesn't serve Krishna. But just like a fish is so eager to always be in the water, same way Radharani is so eager to always be in Krishna's service. This is a Sudarshan, this is the chakra. Chakra, this has the spikes that refer to the 6 enemies, Kama, Krodha, Lobha, Moha, Mada, Matsarya. And the lotus flower refers to how the lotus is always situated in water. So in the same way, if we somehow manage to genuinely cry for the mercy of the divine couple, then we will attain them without delay. We will attain their mercy without delay. The elephant's goat, I mean, the goat represents how we meditate on this goat, then the elephant-like mind will come under control. The flag refers to victory. That anyone who worships Radharani will experience all victory. The umbrella refers to her shelter and how she offers shelter under her lotus feet. This flower speaks of and represents the divine fragrance. And just as the flower spreads the fragrance, spreads the fragrance everywhere. Similarly, Radharani's fame is spread everywhere. And then the barley corn represents how whoever meditates on the lotus feet of Radharani, they acquire all divine opulences. And this creeper refers to the creeper in Vrindavan, that how just as Radharani is compared to a creeper and Krishna is compared to palm tree. So anyone who meditates on the lotus feet of Radharani will attain Vrajadham. And this moon represents that how, can everyone hear? This moon represents how Radharani's lotus feet, and meditating on her lotus feet, of Srimati Radharani. Is it audible now?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Sorry, I think I'm not.
Prabhuji, the last line that you said, the moon, that
Yeah,
time
the
it
moon,
was.
the moon, whoever meditated on the moon on Radharani's lotus feet, all one's spiritual desires will be fulfilled.
Thank you.
So these are the marks on Radharani's lotus feet. Okay, so I'll quickly go. So Krishna played the flute to call all the associates, all his divine associates. And it's explained that when Krishna plays his flute, it's just like a private telephone call. So Krishna is, and the attraction that the associates of Krishna felt for Krishna is just like if you throw a rope around someone's neck and pull. So in the same way, when Krishna played the flute, he pulled them. And it's explained that when they were going to Krishna, it's like the different associates of Krishna, they were going together. But because of the intense love for Krishna, they were not even aware that who was walking beside them, who was running with them. Such intense love. So in this way, this divine dance, and is explained that it's just like Krishna playing with his mirror reflection. This divine dance of love. And His Grace Sripad Prabhu mentions that negation of the unnecessary does not mean negation of the necessary. So just because we think that in this world that the relationship between the male and female body is contaminated does not mean that in the spiritual world also the divine male and divine female's relationship is also contaminated, but it's actually completely pure. And it's explained that how Cupid came to test Krishna one time. Cupid came to test Krishna, and he was watching, he tried to shoot arrows in the eyes of Krishna. And when he was seeing, Cupid fainted. And Cupid fainted, therefore Krishna came, got the name Madan Mohan, and Radharani got the name Madana Mohana Mohini. So in this way, Krishna is associated with performing pastimes. And then Radharani was thinking to herself that, oh, Krishna is not getting that divine ecstasy, getting that happiness in his heart. Why? So just like a mother, sometimes the children, when they eat in anywhere, maybe even the temple, mother is seeing that the child is not eating properly. So what the mother does, the mother takes the son to home and cooks and feeds him or her what he likes or she likes. So in this way, Radharani left the rasa dance, and her mood was simply to give Krishna pleasure. It is explained that when all the gopis, including Srimati Radharani, they associate with Krishna, they are never conscious of their pleasure. They're never thinking about their pleasure. They never think about themselves. As long as Radha Govind Maharaj said, they never think, I will eat today. They never think like this. They're always Krishna, Krishna, Krishna. Nothing else, and nothing exists except Krishna for them. That's why, as well as Radha Govind Maharaj mentions that when the gopis, they ran to meet Krishna, they were not even aware that they were leaving their quote unquote responsibilities. They were not even aware. They were completely absorbed. So it's just like an iron filing becoming attracted to a magnet, like that they were attracted. And this is some things about Krishna's feelings. So when Radharani left, what was Krishna's feeling? This Bhaktivinoda Thakur's song. Dekha diya radhe rakho pra boliya kando kan. Please appear, O Radhe. Kindly save my life. Calling out while weeping. Kana in the forest. Krishna was weeping in the forest. Bole tu bina kahara tuhulagi moran varajavasa. Saying, without you, where is the rasa dance? Only because of you do I live in Braja. So this is Krishna. So finally, as Krishna was lamenting in this way, he had his divine transcendental dealing, his pastimes with Radharani. And after they had their transcendental pastimes, Radharani told Krishna that, Krishna, I'm feeling very tired. Can you please carry me on your back? I mean, of course, this is the Acharya's meditation, Vishwanath Thakur's meditation. And then after Krishna carried Radharani, just carrying Radharani, in Radharani's heart, Radharani became so concerned that, oh, I am relishing this association of Krishna. What about the other gopis? What about them? And thinking in that way, she was concerned about their pleasure more than her pleasure. And so realizing that Radharani wanted to give them pleasure, wanted to give them company. Therefore, Krishna left her. And Radharani met all other gopis, and then this famous Gopi Gita. So Radharani has two moods, as explained, that she has an intense service mood toward Krishna and Bhaktira portion, her love towards the living entities. So this first verse describes that how just by thinking, the gopis and Radharani, Prabhupada says, that just by thinking that Krishna may be stepping on a pebble, they cry all day. So this is their service attitude. And her compassion on the living entities, here she's praying, Radharani is praying for Krishna's appearance in the hearts of the devotees. So there's one famous pastime, the month of Kartik, that one time Krishna Radharani met Krishna, and Radharani's heart was so distressed. Krishna said, "My dear Radharani, why are you so distressed?" He said, "Yes, my lord, so many living entities, they are suffering without your mercy. So please make some arrangement that they can attain your causeless mercy very quickly, fatafat." So yes, so Krishna said, "Yes, my dear Radharani, I will, for your pleasure, for your anxiety, I will establish a month called Damodar Kartik, where any devotional activity done will produce million times the result." So this is Radharani's love for the living entities. So after this whole pastime, Krishna was thinking himself that everywhere in the world, people worship me according to rules and regulations, but how will people come to me? Therefore, as soon as Krishna has a thought, immediately Radharani immediately responds to that. So in the spiritual world, Radharani, one time in the pastime, Krishna was was giving pleasure, was satisfying the heart of another associate. And immediately in her heart, she thought that, oh, maybe Krishna is going somewhere else because the pleasure, my service, my selfless service that I give to Krishna is not satisfying Krishna. And Krishna is not satisfied. So Radharani made her own Vrindavan, now Vrindavan. She created so many pavilions, so many forests, and finally she started playing the flute. And when she played the flute, Krishna came running and they became one, that is Lord Chaitanya. And that's how Radharani's heart manifested as godly love. So this famous verse is there, Tava Kathamritam Tapta Jivana. And when Maharaj Prataparudra was massaging the lotus feet of Lord Chaitanya said, "Purida, Purida, you are that person, you are that person." Mahaprabhu jumped up and embraced him. And mind you, Maharaj Prataparudra was speaking the verses of the Gopi Gita. So we can see from this understanding that how the same Madhura Rati, Raja Rasa was actually given by Lord Chaitanya to his associates, Maharaj Prataparudra, how he actually obtained this bhav in his heart, even though Maharaj Prataparudra was a king, Mahaprabhu said, "I will not beat him." But we can see through this pastime how Maharaj Prataparudra obtained the causeless mercy of Lord Chaitanya. So how do we get the qualification? How? Gauranga Jugunete Jure Nitya Lila Tarisure Sejana Bhakti Adhikari Gaura Prema Rasanave Se Taranga Jevadupe Se Radha Madhavanta. If one appreciates the merciful pastimes of Lord Chaitanya and feels ecstasy and sometimes cries, this process will immediately help him to understand the eternal pastimes of Radha Krishna. If one says, "Let me dive deep into the waves of the nectarine ocean of the transcendental loving movement introduced by Lord Chaitanya," he immediately becomes one of the confidential devotees of Radha and Krishna. Bhaktivinoda Thakur also says, "Pujala Raghavapata Gaura Bhange." He says in that writing, he says that by wandering on the streets of Navadvip, engaging in Sankirtan with the devotees, the signs of rasa will be revealed in the heart. So this is the way, if one appreciates, Gaurkshasuri Maharaj also spoke something confidentially, that if one reads Chaitanya Charitamrita and Chaitanya Bhagavat 108 times, his spiritual form will be revealed from within the core of his heart by Lord Gauranga himself. So if we appreciate Gaura Guna, we chant the names of Gaura, we say, "Let me dive deep into the waves of the nectarine ocean of this movement." My spiritual master said that just engage in this movement, just serve this movement, and you see automatically how the process will take such a wonderful shape in your heart. Spontaneously, he's speaking from his realization that the pastimes of Radha and Krishna will be manifest in your heart, and you will be transported to Vrindavan yourself, and you will become attached to one of the eternal associates of Krishna. So this is Radharani's qualities we can meditate. She is very sweet, youthful, smiles brightly, expert in joking and speaking pleasantly, humble and meek, grave, and keeps Krishna under her control. So Radharani is very unassuming. It's mentioned that Mrinala Vala Vallari Taranga Ranga Dolate. Her eyes are the eyes like of a deer, of an innocent deer. She's very unassuming, very humble, and she smiles very brightly. Our Goswamis explained that this bright smiling face of Radharani protects her devotees, nourishes her devotees from being attracted to Maya. So now I'm just speaking about one, two pastimes of our acharyas, that Das Goswami, we know this famous pastime of how Das Goswami, as he was on the bank of Radhakund, chanting the holy names of Krishna, paying dandavats, praying with a very deep mood. Tave vasmi, najivami tvaya vina, iti vigyaya devi tam nayamaha charanantikam. He's praying, oh Radhe, I cannot live without you. I cannot live without you. And please understand this, oh Radhe, and please give me the shelter of your lotus feet. So this intense mood of serving Radharani, intense. And that's why Radhakund is also the greatest place, the highest place in the material and spiritual worlds, because it is the most intense love of Radharani for Krishna. And the Guinness Book of World Records also records that the temperature in Radhakund is the highest recorded. So this is Radharani's intense feeling of separation from Krishna. And it is also mentioned that Radhakund is more merciful than Radharani herself. Narottam Das, this is a very special pastime. So Narottam Das, as we all know, he approached Loknath Goswami under the direction of Jiva Goswami to get his shelter. Narottam Das Thakur, he would clean the stool of his guru. He would follow Loknath Goswami everywhere. Loknath said, no, I am not qualified to give initiation. I will not give initiation. And Narottam Das Thakur, as he was wandering in the groves of Braja, he started crying, and with his tears he wet the mud of Braja, and in this way the eternal associates of Krishna, Radharani herself, she became very compassionate. She appeared in the dream of Lokanath. Hey Manjulali, the name of Lokanath is Manjulali Manjari. So he appeared in the dream of Lokanath Goswami and said, hey Manjulali, why are you so hard-hearted? Why are you not giving mercy to Narottam? And on her recommendation, he accepted Narottam, and he said Narottam Das Thakur very quickly. After he accepted Loknath Goswami performing intense sadhana, he obtained his Manasi Seva, his service to Radharani of boiling milk under the guidance of Champaklata Sakhi. So we can see how they obtained the mercy of Radharani very quickly by this process of laulyam, by this having this intense greed that no, I need to get the mercy at any cost. I need it. So because of that intense desire, they obtain the mercy. So the only thing which is required is desire. So we have to make our desire, the reason why we're speaking these pastimes is our desire to obtain the lotus feet of Radharani should ultimately become so big that it is bigger than any other desire. And this is what it means to deserve and then to desire. So when our desire is bigger than a desire to serve, Krishna is bigger, or serve Radharani is bigger than any other desire, then we actually deserve to desire. And this Shyamananda Pandit, the famous pastime, how Shyamananda Pandit, just by sweeping the courtyard of the place where the Rasa Leela happens in Nidhivan, by years and years, with humble mood, sweeping, he attracted the direct mercy of Radharani. Radharani was so happy with him that she personally left her ankle bell for him. And the whole pastime follows that how Radharani marked his head with tilak and gave him a deity of Krishna and said, now you have attained the perfection, you have your spiritual body, now give this to others. So these are pastimes of how we obtain, and by seeing this, by hearing this, we can develop the greed, the intense desire that I need this in my life. I need this in my life. At any cost, I need this. So when we develop this deep desire that I want to become the servant of the servant, Gopi Bhattu Kamalan Padakamali, dasa, 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 dasanu, dasa. When we have the deep desire to become the servant of the servant of the servant of Das Goswami, Raghunath Goswami, Rupa Goswami, Narottam Das Thakur, by hearing their bhajans, especially hearing their writings, when their mood. So when we have no desire, so Saladhar Maharaj explained, when we have no desire, we cry for the acharyas, then their desire become reflected in our heart. Their mood become reflected in our heart. Then we can desire, then we can relish. It's like this simple prayer that ha ha prabhu koro daya deho re pada chaya. What is the meaning of this? Meaning is like just like a dog. A dog knows one thing, that at any time, regardless of what quality I have, the master can kick me out anytime. When we have that kind of faith, that kind of understanding, that we are no qualification, but we day and night we cry, we pray for the mercy, and we engage in the service of the mission of the spiritual master, of the Guru, then the moods of the Guru, the Dham, everything eventually by their mercy will become revealed in our heart, and that taste will come into our heart, and then we can actually cry. I mean, we can actually cry for their mercy to serve them. So I'm really sorry. I mean, I prepared and I tried to rush through it, tried to cover everything. I know it's late. I will end here. Please forgive me for speaking anything inappropriate. Anyone has any question or comment?
You mentioned about the Manasi Seva. Can you explain a little bit about what Manasi Puja is exactly and the importance of devotees?
Yeah, I mean, I see in many temples they say that before coming to worship the deities, they should serve them mentally. So that is like a purification for the mind. It's like in Gayatri Mantra also, those who chant Gayatri, you meditate on the personalities. When meditating, the mind become purified and come to the mode of goodness. So when you do that, when you serve the Lord, you do arati, you pray the Lord, mentally you serve the Guru, mentally, then what happens is the mind becomes purified. But here the Manas Seva here of Narottam is on a different level. He is serving in the Leela. So that is something which is revealed in his heart by his Guru. So yeah, Manas Puja anyone can do in the mind. So by visualizing the form of the Lord, serving the Lord, and because the form of the Lord in the mind is also relevant.
Do you recommend to do it before doing Gayatri?
No, I don't recommend. If you want, you can do. I'm not recommending. But I mean, yes, you can do if you would like. It's not like a must practice. Prabhupada never spoke about it, so I've never emphasized it. But yeah, if you're inspired to, you can do it. It's purifying for the mind. Definitely, it's helpful. But I'm here. The Manas Puja here is something which was Manas Seva was revealed spontaneously in the heart of Narottam by his Guru. Anyone else have any other question or comment?
Hare Krishna Prabhu, Dandavad Stashla Prabhu. Thank you, Prabhu, for a wonderful class. I had a question, Prabhu. In the class, you mentioned that when we come to take the darshan of the Lord, we should come that we are not coming to take the darshan of the Lord, but to be seen by the Lord. Can you elaborate a little more, Prabhu? Because I'm just getting into like the mood in which and how to come.
Yeah, so when we consider anything as a sadhana, so sadhana means what? Sadhana means that we establish our current position and we establish where we want to go. Sadhana means we're trying to go there. So when we do anything, even I don't do this, but when we are in front of the Lord and we come to see the Lord and we have, oh my Lord, how may I please you? How may I serve you? So this is a real darshan, it's a real prayer. So when we come in this mood in front of the deities, then that is a real scene. And that's why we cannot see them. I mean, I cannot see at least. But only when one is beyond the three modes, you can actually see. So that's what it means to have that mode of a servant. I am a servant of the Lord. The only goal of my life is to fulfill their pleasure. Just like I explained that a servant does not worry what the master is doing in his bedroom. So I mean, it's a very high, but we have to aspire, because if we don't aspire, then what's the use of our life? So we have to aspire for the day that I don't want anything from you, Krishna. I want absolutely nothing from you, Radharani. The only thing I want is to see a smile on your face. I just want you to be happy. That's it. And I am willing to go through any pain to see that smile on your face. Gurudev, I am willing to do anything to see that smile on your face. That's all I want. I don't want anything else. So that is the real mood of darshan. Otherwise, speak for myself, sometimes we see, oh, turban is nice, jewelry is nice, dress is nice, garland is nice. So that's just having external darshan. But the heart, we have to pray to the Lord. So many prayers are there. Prayers. Narottam Das Thakur is writing. Anakata, anakata, anavyata, naha, nakahibo yathatata. I'm sorry, I'm quoting the wrong thing. That is another sloka. It is telling to Radha and Krishna that, hey Radha and Krishna, Mora prana gale har. My gale har is tomara piritiri sa sukhe. Your happiness is my life air. My life air is your happiness. Another place, Narottam Das Thakur is praying that Krishna, to not think of Krishna, to not discuss his pastimes, is like plunging a sphere in your heart. So when we hear these kind of things again and again, you become inspired that, yeah, what am I doing with my life? And the only goal of my life is to serve Krishna with these moods. That's why Prabhupada said that these outpourings of the acharyas is their bhava, is their mood. And if we just absorb them again and again, just like, if you make a line in a, like, for example, chapati atta or something. So you make it 1 time, 2 time, 3 time, 4 time. So like that, when you make again and again on our heart, then our heart will become the place where we can remember these moods. I'm completely unqualified. To be very honest, I was not very happy with my conscience during the class. I think that's why you could not hear. And as usual, I did a big service. But please pray to Radharani to forgive me. And who am I? Who am I to speak about her?
Thank you so much for the beautiful explanation, Prabhu. Hare Krishna. Dandavats.
Thank you. It's a very wonderful class. Appreciate it. Earlier in the slide you mentioned about acharyas describing how our mood should be, or when we qualified. Can you share a little bit more about the source of this acharya, which like where is it from?
Yeah, it's the songs of Narottam, songs of Bhakti Vinod. That's all. So you can go online and read it and sing it. So these songs are just not meant to be sung. Many times people say, just sing this song to feel good, it's like, oh, nice tune. But the purpose of this song is enter into our heart. That is the purpose of the song. Just like what is it? Ganganaran Chakravarti. Ganganaran Chakravarti. He made the songs of his guru his life and soul. He practically woke his guru up from Narottam entered Nitya Leela, and all the caste Brahmins were criticizing Narottam. Narottam, who are you? What are you doing? You are useless. Look at you. See, you gave initiation to people like this. See, that's why they were criticizing. And he imbibed the moods of Narottam so deeply. When he cried, Narottam actually came back from the Leela. And Narottam has effulgent as millions of sons. Narottam Das Thakur came out of, he was lying on the fire. Of course, there was no fire. And all these persons were criticizing, millions surrendered to Narottam, gave them initiation. So this is the power of imbibing Guru's mood and heart, Acharya's mood. And when we actually read Acharya's prayers, I was hearing Narottam is saying, only fear the displeasure of Krishna. Don't fear anything else. And then I was hearing a lecture by Radhanath Maharaj saying that our only fear is displeasing Krishna. So we see how our gurus are actually emanating this mood. And then we can realize and experience our gurus deeper than just the body, than just the externals. So this is a mood,
very nice and we were mentioning on Shrimati Radharani, but she saw the color is very simple. And that there is a very nice word saying how she has the kind of love. So Nikunja Bhusha Mani is one of the names. And it says that we all have played hide and seek in our life. And Gopis also would play, and we would go and hide into the bushes. But Shrimati Radharani is so simple that every day in the same that she would go and hide. She just does not just pretend or even the thought of I want to trick you, even for the game's sake, she does not know to do it. So that is the
Yeah, actually, her love for us is infinite, actually, infinite love. And see, generally, a mother personality in this world, not talking about speaking about devotees, and this making it clear. Generally, a female in this world, she has one type of relationship with her children, one type of relationship with her husband. Generally, in confidential talks with her husband, she will not share with anyone. But Radharani will share her most private things with the Manjaris. Most private thing. She treats Manjaris like her sister. Even what she will not tell us, she will tell the Manjaris. And that's why it's mentioned that why is Rupa Goswami Chaitanya Manavishnu? Why not Swarup Damodar? Why not Ramananda Roy? Why not anyone else? They are fully qualified. They are eternal associates of Krishna, and they are my worshipful. I take shelter of them. But Rupa Goswami is specific underlining points because he's a Manjari. That's why generally a sister, older sister, will feel more comfortable in sharing the deepest confidential regions of her heart with her younger sister. With her friend, she's little. So that's why he's Chaitanya Manavishnu. That is Radharani's intense love for her maid servants. It's just unprecedented. And that's what our Acharya Gurus are giving us, that love in the form of their talks, in the form of their exchanges. Then, like that example I gave, and my Guru Maharaj mentioned that how we should not worry what the master is doing in the bedroom. We should serve. That is, you see, this just for the sake of glorifying him, I'm saying, to transport this, what the Manjari's mood is, they just worry about making arrangement of Radha and Krishna. Okay, now this Leela, next like this, they are not worried about enjoying the private association of Radha and Krishna. That is their mood. Now we can see how our acharyas, how our present gurus are coming from that. They are on that platform. When the day will come, we'll realize they're actually speaking from that platform. So, this is, that's why, see, Prabhupada says, Janmashtami means Radhashtami is coming. Radhashtami means Kartik is coming. Kartik is the most amazing time of the year. So, taking this opportunity, let us intensely, very seriously, be willing to do something special for Radharani in the month of Kartik. Chant more, sacrifice something you like most for her happiness. And you see the way she will reciprocate, And when you feel a reciprocation, you see a smile on her face, then you don't need anything else from this world. Like Das Goswami, he didn't need anything else from this world. His kirtan was Radha Viraha Kirtan. Always Radha. Of course, we cannot imitate, but just to glorify him, just glorify. Rupa Goswami wrote a book taking Krishna out of Vrindavan, and Raghunath Das Goswami, he cried. It's actually like so much that whole Paranputi became wet, and then Rupa Goswami had to write another book to console Das Goswami. That were their moods. Such, such intimacy. So on the day, when the day will come, we can pray to Radharani that anathas will go, pride will go, lust will go, and finally we'll be able to serve her when the day will come. And should constantly pray please give me mercy, please let me have a taste for your service, please let me have a taste for your service, so that I can give up all these nonsense things. And so that these associates of Radharani, Nayana Mani Manjari, Kamala Manjari, the day when they will consider me Appanarabuli, mine, they will consider me theirs, and then they will give me entrance into that. Okay, sorry for a very long. Anyone has any question or comment?
Super amazing class, Prabhuji. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you for all you all for tolerating me, and please pray that I can become very serious in my Krishna consciousness. So, by all of your mercy and by your glancing and by your prayers, I ask prayers of so many devotees within the class. So, God Premanande. Srimati Radharani ki
Jai.
Jai.
Srila Prabhupada ki
Jai.
ki
Jai.
Panchakalpatarु.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Dandavat Pranam.